I think there's a lot that goes into it. I don't think it's simply a decision of, the prestige of the university or one factor. I think there's a lot of factors at play. A lot of ones that went into my decision revolved around the city of Austin. So what city, you're going to be in. Size of school is important. What you're going to study. Is that major competitive? Does that have great exit opportunities after college? And there's a lot of factors that are at play. Some of the other ones that I evaluated were, competitiveness of the program. UT Golf has been great for a very long time. There's great alumni, great coaching. The list goes on and on. There's so many factors at play. I think being very organized in the decision making and laying all the information you can out on, whether it's a Word document or whatever it is, just to see it, I think makes the decision a lot more clear over time.
Looking back on it, for me, it was definitely do your research. If you got these people recruiting you and you want to go to these different places, do your research. I think if I would have did my due diligence back then, it would have saved me a little bit of heartache. It all worked out for me in the end, but, it could have saved me some years. So, yeah, just do your research, due diligence, and, it's a business at the end of the day, so treat it like a business. The biggest thing for me is, go where you want it. Go where they love you, and don't go where you think, you got to beg them to go. Because, at the end of the day, it's all about the opportunity you get, and, that's only going to come from, people that love you and want you to succeed. Because, like I said before, it's a business. So they will try to do what's best for them. So, you got to do what's best for you. So go into that place that you think is going to propel you to where you need to be and where you want to go in your life.
There's, a lot of time demands as far as working out, practice, school, class, tests, trying to have a social life. I think it really comes down to priorities at the end of the day. There's going to be times in which you need to prioritize some things over others, and some things are just going to fall by the wayside. There's times in which my friends were hanging out, and I would have loved to have, been around them and had a good time, but I couldn't do that because I had a test the next day, or I had practice the next day, or we'd qualifying or leaving for a tournament. And so there's going to be sacrifices that have to be made if your priorities are in the right place and you want to get the most out of the experience of socially as far as athletics go and academically in the classroom. I never had any personal instances in which I wanted to quit my sport. It does get very stressful and difficult at times, and there's times where you get overwhelmed. I think accepting that going in, that there's just going to be a few instances that are either unfortunate or you feel should have gone another way, or you might even feel like you got disenfranchised, to be quite honest. There's going to be those instances, and so I think the acceptance level going in, knowing that it's not going to be easy, is important.
Everything needs balance, right? You got to do your academics, you got to do your sports. So, you got to find some time in there for yourself, too. Like, if you don't, drive yourself crazy. So I think that's just really important, just prioritizing yourself, and doing things that's going to, not interfere with what you got to get done, but, also keeping your mental clear. We had class every other day, or if not online, so just making sure you get your things done, not forgetting about it. But other than that, nothing was too hard. Kinkaid prepared me well enough for the schools I was going to, so I didn't really stress too much on it. How it helped me kind of shape was business. At the end of the day, basketball is business, right? It's about making money. So I like money, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get my MBA in entrepreneurship. So when I have these things, I can know what to do with them and be smart with my money, essentially, right? That's what I've worked hard for. So, just being smart with that and kind of using things that is going to help me in real life.
I think a lot of that came down to my parents. My mom worked in finance for a long time. My dad was in sales for pretty much the entirety of his career. And so a lot of our conversations at the dinner table revolved around those sort of things. And I felt like from an early age, I had a great interest in business. And originally I didn't get into the business school at UT, so I had to work pretty hard, and it was an uphill climb battling golf and academics my freshman year, but I was able to transfer into the business school my sophomore year. and study finance, which is a huge passion of mine and potentially something that's going to help me a lot in the future. I think one of the main things that I wish I was told in retrospect that I knew to an extent going in was not only the time demands, but the stress levels that are going to be associated with that. Not only is that stress level going to come up in a competitive environment, whether it's on the golf course or on the basketball court or on the football field, whatever it is also is applicable in the classroom. You might come back at 11 o'clock from a tournament or match, whatever it might be, and the next day you have a test at 8 a.m. And being able to prioritize, do I get sleep? Do I study until 4 in the morning? There's going to be a lot of those instances, and so it's going to be really easy to be very stressed at times. But I think going and accepting that that's going to happen occasionally is a healthy way to go about it.
Just, I don't know, it's something you kind of got to go through. I can't really prepare you, over a little, video. It's kind of just something when you in it, you kind of figure it out on your own. But just know it's going to be a lot of hard work, right? So, if you're already working hard and you're already taking care of your business, it should be a good transition for you. But at the end of the day, it's something you kind of got to go through and figure out on your own.
I think being a college athlete was essential in my development as an all-around person. The time demands that are required of all college athletes as far as the academic, athletic, social life, there's a lot of things at play. I think one of the biggest things that came out of college athletics was learning how to deal with time management and pressure. That's super vital in today's world. There's going to be times in which you're stressed, you have a lot on your plate, you're working as hard as you can to stay afloat, whether it's professional sports or whether it's in a workplace environment or even family for that matter. So I think learning how to deal with stress is one of the main things that I learned.
My college journey wasn't smooth. The back end was really great, but the front end, I had to go through some trials and tribulations, some ups and downs. So just, seeing how resilient I am and, knowing that, everything's a process and you kind of just got to work through it, when it's, rain or shine. So that's kind of just how it shaped me today. So anything in life, I'm ready to take on.
I believe I kind of had a different recruiting route. I committed super early to the University of Texas, and so I had a lot of time to think about what my future college life might look like as far as the ins and outs day to day, as well as the competition side of things and the academic side of things as well. I think, though, the main thing that I wish I had known going in were the amount of resources you're provided. There's a lot of academic resources. You're going to have great coaches. Professors are generally extremely accommodative and very helpful in your studies. So there's a lot of resources. I wish earlier on in my college and collegiate golf career that I would have known that I had that many resources at my disposal, and I would have used them a lot more earlier. And I did later in my college career. But there's a lot of resources, and I recommend using them as best you can because there's so many great learning opportunities in every facet of college.
I would say the connections you build with, people who are alumni and around campus and, people that have, essentially been there. They all want to help you out and see you succeed. So just, using those connections, building those connections because you never know who you might need down the road. And, eventually the game's going to stop going. So having them, in your pocket to help you out is great.